Hey you, I'm the Queen of Shade. Welcome to the interview. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, oh, and hit my Cash App to support your favorite content creator. Now let's get to the interview. Mwah. The Queen of Shade. Let me tell you something. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Salutations, Ducos. This is your fabulously Queen of Shade coming to you with another special presentation. Moving full speed ahead, getting to know some amazing, amazing people from around the world has been quite a privilege for me and an honor. I love bringing their stories to you. We learn about them together, and it's just an amazing, amazing experience of positivity. Having said that, I have someone that you have to meet right now. This young man actually is from my city, and we met years ago. I'm talking about before I went to Paris. That was like, I want to say 2003, 2004. And this young man left a lasting impression on my life. I never forgot him and his style. And we're going to talk to you about some of those things and just his great energy. So I thought it would be a privilege for me and an honor for me to have this person on and allow them to share their positivity and their outlook of how they live their life with all of us. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Omelio Alexander. Yay!
Hi.
Hi! How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, actually.
Yeah? I love the color red. I love the red.
It's my favorite color, so I figured I'd put that on.
You know what's so funny? Black is my favorite color, but I've been listening to some of my, followers that are African, and they're like, listen, you need color because it aligns your chakras. So I'm like, okay, I gotta.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. Okay. You see what she
I
said,
saw that.
right?
That was interesting. Yeah.
It was. It
And
was.
I do think that, and maybe not so exacting as they were in regard to what each color is giving, but I do feel like colors, even if you don't wear your color, like I feel like your favorite color tells you something about your personality. And if that's their favorite color, that's what I do. It means something. Light colors, dark colors, whatever variation. So a lot of times I'll ask people what their favorite color is, and they'll give me like, oh, it's like three, and I'm like, oh, that you got three personalities. I don't know. Sometimes I feel that way, but it's definitely something that I feel as well in regard to, even if you're just trying to evoke something, it does make a difference.
You know what? You know what's so funny? Black is my favorite color, but when I am anxious or having bouts with my mental illness or just not feeling myself, I find that my go-to color that centers me is yellow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like tulips and things like that. And
Yeah.
it really does help. So before even she did that video, I knew from like years and years, like whenever I'm down, whenever things are not going right in my head, yellow is the color that I go to that just kind of like lifts the clouds and like dispels all of the darkness. So
Yeah.
there's, like you said, and I like that about you because that's what I remember. You question everything. Yes, like you'll listen and you're like, okay, there's some validity to that, but and I like that you do that, but you've always been that. I have a confession to make.
What's that?
I think you know this. From the time I met you, that was 2002, 2003 going into 2004. You have been my crush.
Oh. Well,
Yes.
we had our little time. We had our time.
Yes, you have been my crush. Like you have lived. I had never like, and at that time I met limited men. So it was just like when I met you, you were just what I loved about you
And I came to later appreciate now that I'm 40 years old. I just turned 40 in September.
We together. We together. It's all right.
Okay, so okay, good. We in the same crowd. We're gonna talk about that in a second.
41, you know.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second because my don't care, I really don't care what people think now, and it's crazy. Like it's like a switch that turned off. Like it's like opinions. I'm just like no. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's not the point of this. The point of what I'm going for is that I had never met a man that was so insistent and deliberate about being who he was. You didn't change for anything. Like and I remembered it, and it's why I've held a flame for you all these years, because as I grew, I'm like, damn, this man, he didn't care what anyone thought. And at times it might have been difficult, you know, in situations and different things like that. And even I, at some times, would say, well, for your safety, maybe you should comply. And you would be like, no, I'm not complying. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me in my house. I'm going to be me when I travel. I'm going to be me on this train. I'm going to be me everywhere I go. And it was so crazy because I didn't realize back then that that's why, rumor has it, you were quite irresistible to a number of men. Because well, yes, I have to say it. Because there's nothing sexier, there's nothing bolder, there's nothing more beautiful than someone who understands who they are and pays everybody else dust. Like, no, this is it. And it's been, and I want to say this, like, I've watched you, like when you're online and your Facebook and things like that. I've kept up with you because now that I sit here, you know, and now that I show this side of myself, because I'm not trans. So like I'm a cross-dresser. I've been a cross-dresser since I was 8 years old, but I never thought that I would be able to like show the world this and have them embrace it. And, you know, it was something because, you know, my mother, she left my life really early. My father was never really there. So my mother got hooked on drugs in the 80s. I was an 80s baby. I was 82. Like that was my birthday and yours too, if you're 40. So it was or 81, could be. But what happens is I spent a lot of time by myself. Listen, look at him with his teeth. So just go ahead. Just go ahead. Just be you. I have to segue. Just right there. Just please always be you. Because that's exactly what I'm about to say. You know, I used to do this to soothe myself. It was the same thing. I don't know if it was kind of like a longing for my mother, longing for that maternal side of things, and then the singing. And then it was just like, you know, those things I did. And I did kind of play in my mother's things. I remember, get this, being in the projects, North Philadelphia, 12th and Diamond, actually 11th and Diamond, the high rise. I remember her trying to teach me to tie my shoes. And I remember I sat there all day and she showed me a couple of times. She would walk by. And this was when she was a great mother. Yeah, she would walk by and she set me in the hallway upstairs and turned the light on. And I sat there and, you know, the under, around, over, and through, you know, that's how we tie our shoes. So she would show me, I would sit there and I would struggle all day long with it. And I mean, she let me sit there. Like, I don't even remember breaking for lunch. Like, she was like, you're gonna get this. Like, for real, Omelio. She was like, you're going to get this today. Like that was her attitude. But I loved my mother like that because I learned, even today, I learned so quick. I'm so quick. It doesn't take me days to get things. I'm like, show me. They show me. I do it. Then I ask them. Then I look, I compare, and I've got it. So I never hated her about that. But the flip side of that is, while she was doing whatever she was doing, where she was, I left that old clinky boy shoe right there. And I was in the room walking. I was in her high heels. Like I was walking around like, these shoes don't have laces. I want to be in these shoes. You know, like it was like, I want to be in these shoes.
And they're more fun. They have more options. And you get fun colors and you get the I think when I started dressing sort of the way that I dress now, for me, it was more a I saw someone and I liked them, and so therefore I am the homosexual.
Yes.
Whereas it's like I want the same a lot of times. Like if I see something, like I go and implement it for myself. And I remember this guy, my roommate was dating, and like he came over, he was a dancer, and his legs were just like bow. And I'm like, I want that for me. I'm attracted to it, but I also want that for me now. So I'm like, I had to go to the store, and I'm there trying on all the jeans. And I remember specifically, I started in the men's section because it doesn't, just because it seems easy don't mean it is easy. This is
Right.
all process for all of us in regard to coming into yourself and being comfortable. And I remember working my way down the sizes, and I was like, well, these still ain't working. They still not doing what I want. And so I said, I guess I'm going to cross the aisle. And I went ahead and crossed the aisle. And it was just like, still had to keep on going, keep on going, keep on going because, whatever. I'm like, all right, here I am in this. At that time, I think I was still small enough to get into a zero, I believe. Or one. And that's where I started wearing them. And then when I was like, and I was really into it, and I said, because I think I was already sort of wearing like fitted shirts and things, and I was like, oh, well, since I'm already over here, let me see what some of these other things are doing, because again, it's a lot of times it's more affordable, you got more color options, you got more styles, and strangely enough, some of that fun stuff that that actually it looks, I don't want to say it a certain kind of way, but like I love like all the sheer stuff and like that. But I'm like, when do women even get to wear that like in a real way? Like whereas I can wear it, cleavage out, whatever, and it is what it is.
Yes.
And that's just, I mean, that's how I myself. But it's definitely after I crossed over that aisle, I'm like, these things are nice. I have options, and I can still go back over there. And wherever I need to get something, I can go get it, and I don't have to worry about like, oh, they don't have any sweaters over there. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna mosey myself on over here. I probably like the sweater the way it fit better anyway, because I like the fitted stuff, and especially back in 2000s, that
Yeah.
was not the thing, you know.
Now
And
everybody's
so
doing it.
yeah, I'm like, oh, well, I could get menswear now, but you know, uh, y'all still got these boring ass. It's still not as interesting, for me anyway. So it's just like, okay, but it does fit better. It does fit better. I will
and you
say
know,
that.
and I must admit, you always look amazing in it. You
Oh,
always
thank you.
look amazing. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I couldn't wait to like catch up with you because I had to tell you because there were times even in the past I'm like, for our safety, and you're like, our safety. Do you see these muscles? Like, I didn't understand that back then. Because you worked out a lot. So, like, it was the fit, and then you're beautiful. You had long hair, your face, and everything. Great skin complexion, great skin tone. But it was like, no, I can handle myself. Like, and what people don't understand is that a lot of men don't take onus for that. Like back then, even then, you took onus. Like, this is my body, this is who I am, and I can protect it if I have to. A lot of men don't come into that right away. And it was like you were like, listen, I will take on all comers. I will do
Well,
what I have to do.
well, I think too. I think for me, a big thing was that when people wanted to bother me, they were going to do it anyway. Like
Yeah.
there was no point in me kowtowing to them if doing all that. Still somebody's going to get mad because of the way my voice sounds, the way my hands move, the way I walk, because all that was happening, all that had happened
Yeah.
prior to me exploring that style or doing any of that stuff. They just see you and they know that you're not the same,
Yeah.
and they already harassing you and trying to assault you and all that. So I was like, well, if they're gonna do it anyway, I might as well do what the fuck I want, and that's really what it, and that's part. I mean, that's a big portion of what it is,
Yeah.
and also, there's also just for me because like I don't know, I think I had a sweet spot in regard to family and things like that,
Yeah.
where all that stuff was almost always external. It wasn't too much of it happening inside. Like they might not have been, you know, excited about it, but
Yeah.
nobody gave me, no, certainly none of the adults, which is early on in my life. I was like, well, what are the adults saying? Like, well, fuck y'all kids was basically how I felt. in those earlier years. It's like, well, the adults like me, so it's fine. And uh, in my family, that was never an issue. Or big. It certainly wasn't a big issue for softer, softer men. However you want to say it. And plus, these women in my family is the I can handle it myself women. So it's just like
Yeah.
that's just there's never any notion that you can't, that if you want to do something, that's what you do. And, there when I started being in places, it's like I'm not going to continue. I just had a core belief that I don't have to worry about what everybody thinks.
Yeah.
Even though I was a sensitive child and all that good stuff, I reached a point where it was just like, you know what? Number one, I can't control that, and I can't put value what you think over what I think. And it's just somewhere along that route, and like I said, you're like, well, again, I'm like, well, y'all gonna you can't please everybody was ultimately the root of that. You can't, and so why am I even? I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna please me.
Yeah.
And again, it's a process for everybody.
Yeah.
It's none of this stuff happens overnight. We all have the advantages that we have to get there.
Yeah.
But that was definitely that is a core thing for me. It doesn't mean there isn't vestiges of things. I'm still living in the same society as everybody else. It takes some time, but it's just the same as just with anything, just like I said with the whole gene process, the thing, like you take the steps to acclimate yourself and say, you know what, this does not matter. It should not matter. I like this, and you have to talk yourself through that sometimes as
Yeah.
well. And once you get through that process, who cares what this other person has to say about it? You're like, okay, did you enjoy spending your energy on me? Thank you. Like I don't know, and also what I think, because I got a little sidetracked telling that backstory.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
What I was trying to get to was, to join it with what your perception of me when we were talking about danger and safety. Like I think at that point, again, these things had already happened to me before I started doing those things. So not only is it no real benefit to me to kowtow to it, but also because those things had been happening already, I felt pretty confident identifying an actual dangerous situation. All that mouth usually means nothing is going to happen, believe it or not. It's when they're not making no noise that you're like, oh, wait, what's going on? Because I remember, one particular time I was walking, I was going to see somebody. They lived in the bottom, Mantua.
Yeah.
And I'm walking down Gerard Avenue, and all of us, this porch full of boys, all of a sudden got quiet. And I was like, oh shit, and I had to turn around and like prepare myself, but they didn't even want to do it first, even in that situation, they didn't want to own what they were doing, because when I turned around, they all drifted off. And I was just like, I had to get to where I was going, but that, that's actually one of the most relatively extreme things that I could pin on gender expression or whatever. But even with that, it was just like I know what was suspicious and what wasn't. And I know that when somebody's saying going off at the mouth and everything, that can feel a certain kind of way because you don't want nobody wants to be anybody talking about them or threatening them, even in theory. So I understood the feeling. But I was like, that's for me. I had already decided that I was a good enough judge of the situation, regardless. And also, like I said, they're gonna do it anyway. I could even one of my most recent bad experiences in the last decade or so. I was leaving work and I was wearing work clothes. I had slacks on and a shirt, but somebody didn't like the way I was talking, and they proceeded to assault me. And and but the whole thing is like, everybody's like, oh, well, what, it's just like when somebody's talking about rape or anything else. Like, well, what were you wearing? I was like wearing regular ass clothes that they would have approved of. and the
Yeah.
shit still happens. So like this is why I don't care. I'm gonna do what I feel like doing on a particular day, and that's gonna
Yeah.
be what it is. And those kind of things, for me that was actually, it wasn't even the fact that it happened, it was the fact that, I was what, 35 or somewhere in there, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm like, this stuff, I'm not a child anymore. Now, number one, it shouldn't be happening. Besides the fact that it shouldn't happen ever, it shouldn't be happening still at this point in my life. I'm a grown person.
Yeah.
Number one, if you yourself are grown, you know this ain't going nowhere, and you shouldn't have that much time on your life for me as a grown person. And the fact that these were younger people, I was like, I'm gonna. Where is the, for me, that was just a general, where's the respect for adults, like, that kind of thing, like whatever you think as a child, I'm not a child, and that kind of thing. And so that one did bother me a little bit more than expected in regard to my mental state. But you know I still want to go wherever I want to go,
Yeah.
still wear whatever I want to wear.
Yeah.
you know I'm
Yeah.
gonna make, this, I'm gonna make strategic decisions as necessary, but that's still going to be, this is what I want to do today, that's what I'm gonna do,
You,
and
you
and I
know,
do still stand by that.
I feel the same way about that because, I'm 40 years old. I ain't got time to play. And they're always younger. And you know what it is too? With the way that the world is now, I don't care what anybody says, this world is progressive. They know what it is. So
Mhm.
it's like, and I mean, I don't go out like this. This is for work. And I was able to turn it into a franchise and a business. But like, even when I go out in my boy clothes, like you said, I like things that fit as well. I don't like to be lost, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm a taller, slender person, and even with muscles, when I put on a lot of clothes, I disappear and I look really, 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 really thin.
Mm.
So what happens is people think that they can try that because they can't see my protections. So
Mhm.
what happens is, yeah, even in the wintertime now, I go out, I make sure that coat, I'm wearing a girl's coat. I wore a girl's coat today. Like, I'm like, I need them
Mhm.
to see, don't mess with me. Like, I
Mhm.
need you to reconsider your
Mhm.
next move. But
Yeah.
like, I was going to the dumpster where I live over here in the Northeast, and we have some new people in this development over here. I know all of my neighbors. All of my neighbors know what I do. All their husbands know what I do. We're all artists actually over here. Some work for
Okay.
BET. Yeah, some of them work for BET. They fly out, and others are songwriters and things like that. So I have a lot of artistic people around me.
That's
And what I
great.
love about those men is there's such a respect for what I do, because some of them have even said to me, because I've been living here 16 years.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah, so I've gotten to know them. So, and many of them have said to me, "You're my first gay friend." And
Mhm.
I didn't mind that. I didn't want to be the first, because when you're the first, they ask you all the crazy questions. Well,
Yeah,
why do you
yeah.
and why do you and what do you and that, and I'm just like, so but they now form like a protective ring. Like you can't get to my house. That you like you can't get, you won't, like, and that's why I tell people, don't mess with me. Like, I'm not behind a gated community yet. I don't live in Center City right now. I'm working my ass off to be able to get back down to Center City. So it's like, don't mess with me, but I don't have to worry about that. But I wanted to say, even now, like, even looking back at the man that I met, you were such a beautiful peacock. Your feathers. And when I say feathers, I mean your mentality and your looks. Like, and then even when you walked, like, I remember that you strutted like a dancer. I think I always used to say that to you. You walked like a dancer. Like,
Yeah.
you knew that and I'm sure you still do, because you can't cut that out. That was something that was natural. So, like, you moved, and just like, and I look back and I'm just like, God, like, now that I am who I need to be for myself, I'm just like, God, I had access to somebody who really, really, really lived as themselves, as authentically as possible. And I'm not going to lie, you helped me be me.
Oh, that's
Without
great.
even knowing, without even knowing, there was so much I had to get under control. Mental illness, I'm bipolar. I have bipolar 1, PTSD, and acute anxiety. No multiple personalities, so you ain't got to worry.
Okay.
But but it was a lot. It took many years to get that under control, and I had very limited family support. So, it just was really crazy for a really long time. But after that, I started coming into my own. And, it's something because my grandmother is the one that she just celebrated her 75th birthday. She's the one that kind of grabbed me and was like, I don't care what none of these people say in your family. It wasn't even really outside of my family. It was in my family. She's like, they're giving you a hug. Like she said to me, and I'll never forget it because she still gets angry about it. And I tell her, Nana, don't get mad about it. We're past it. Don't get mad about it. But she says, there was a time when you were manic. You were having a manic episode and you needed hospital treatment and care. And they laughed at you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah. She will not let it go. She will not let
I
it go.
mean, that's what the people who love you going to do. They're going to be like, I don't care if you let it go.
I'm cool now. I've had therapy. I've had therapy, medication, a psychiatrist, and a psychologist for 16 years. So I know who I am now, and I'm cool. And but she still says that to me. She says, I can't get over the fact that they laughed at you. Like you were vulnerable. And, it's kind of crazy because in my family, I should have been all right being gay because all of my aunts and uncles on my grandmother's side, I think I told you this before, they're all gay and lesbian.
Well, I met the one.
Yeah. He's in California now. But yeah, like you would have thought that they would have been showing me the ropes, and it wasn't. They turned on me. And they turned on me because there was a lot of indoctrination there, a whole religion. I stepped away from all of that. But it was kind of like this, there was this insecurity about being themselves. And then they saw me start to show early signs of, this is what I'm going to do. Well, people like me, they model. People like me, they sing. They're artists. They do this. I was finding myself. And, in my family, they're artists. They have artistry. And, the one, he sang, he went to GAMP, Girard Academic Music Program for high school. So, he was an artist and a performer for a lot of his life and sang tenor and opera and did all those things. And here I am with no professional training. To this day, I've never had a voice lesson, and I had a vocal coach. The record label that was going to sign me back in I want to say around 2007, a big record label, so I can't say their name, but because I don't want to get in trouble. But big record label, because I don't want to talk disparagingly about them, because I left them. I was like, no. But even that decision came because it was like, I need to be me. Like, I don't need an image. Now you're going to cry. It took me so long to be me. And my grandmother always said, because I used to cry to her as a young person, I didn't like the sound of my voice, not because I didn't like it, but because of the damage that it brought my way. And so we moved from the inner city to the suburbs because she was trying to basically save my life. And when I got to the suburbs, the physical abuse stopped, but I still endured the emotional and the verbal abuse.
Oh yeah, they not no worse. I mean, they not no better in certain. They better about that.
So
not everything.
Thing like hatred is hatred everywhere.
Yeah.
So
they might do it different, but it's still getting done.
Exactly. Yeah. So you would have thought that my family would have been there, and they weren't. And then I wind up homeless. And then it just was a lot of different things. But it was once again my grandmother connecting with me. And she took me in 16 years ago. And from that moment, I'll never forget, because I was so tired. I had started to work out. My body changed. I was on YouTube. I was singing, and, but I still wasn't taking care of the medical side of my mental illness. So that's what happened. The bottom kind of fell out. I was by myself at that time, living in Center City. It was great. But, I just couldn't hold it together anymore. And she stepped in again. And that time she was like, listen, we have to do this right. We have to get you under control because you're brilliant. And she's a Christian. So she was like, God has great purpose for your life. And I rejected all of that. I was like, listen, I don't want to hear nothing about no church. Because they beat up on me more than anybody. I still to this day don't understand why we lived 45 to 50 minutes outside of the city and drove 45 to 50 minutes both ways the heart of North Philadelphia at 7th and Oxford.
Yeah.
I'm like, we was in the hood. So I'm like, and I had to endure that. I had to endure that from 10 till 19. Yeah. So, it was really hard. Preachers coming in town and spotting me in the crowd, and I'm standing there all swan like, and they decide to preach on me and come over there. It was a lot, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't change that at all. Like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
change the experiences then, because of fire. There was an aggression in me that got born. And nowadays, like, because that's where we was going. I did the same thing you did. I started a story and then missed where I was
Oh,
going. But
that's how it works. That's how it works. No problem.
right, right. But the point was, we had some new kids, young kids. They're like 19, move into the development, and they're townhouses. So one night, because usually I don't come out of my house because I am well known. So I like to move when nobody's around. I'll go to the store at 12 midnight, 2 a.m. I'm working. People say, oh, I'm quitting my job. I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I'm going to start a business myself. I did the same thing. And then you find out, okay, I'm not working a 9 to 5. Now I'm working a 25/8. I work all the time. I
Oh
don't have
yeah.
I haven't had a vacation in 7 years.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to keep with it. So I was going to the dumpster at night, and I saw them, and I didn't have my contacts in. So I didn't really see, like, I saw their silhouettes and I can see, but it was dark. So I didn't
Yeah.
really get up in their faces, but that wasn't my concern. But like you
Yeah.
said, they were standing near the dumpsters. And it's like you said, I went and, I'm model. I teeter myself to the trash can.
Mhm.
And I dump the big ass bags in the trash can, and it gets quiet. So, like you said, when they're not saying anything, you got to be careful. So they got quiet. It got quiet. So I just, Spirit says to me, just keep walking, walk. And my house wasn't that far away. So just walk back to your
Yeah.
house. They waited for me to get into my house, and they started vandalizing the front of my house. Like
Oh my God.
they started Now, mind you, this is my grandmother's house. So they started
Oh yeah.
vandalizing the front of the house. So I didn't say anything, but I was angry. And that's the thing about me now. I have more of it's kind of crazy to say this, but I have more of a masculine presence now than I did before. It's so
Mhm.
weird. I feel like people will say to me, well, you're dressed like this and that. I feel more in tune with both parts of myself, masculinity and femininity, like this. And because I do this, so that when I'm outside of this, I'm even more masculine because I know what I have and I know what I possess. So like I feel that way. So I was getting ready to go outside. I'm like, I'm going outside because I'm 39 years old. This ain't about to happen. I'm about to whoop all
Yes.
it.
Yes.
And my grandmother's like, no, BJ, because if the cops come, they're going to take you both because you're Black. They're not going to ask who started it. And I don't want to have to explain to your following worldwide that I had to bail you out of jail. So I listened to reasoning, but I was ready to whip their ass.
Yeah.
I was ready to
Oh,
whip.
I mean, I know how you feel. That story I told you earlier.
Yes, like,
I was like, because what happened with that was that time, my phone disappeared in that process,
oh no.
and and I'm like, and it was so funny because I was actually preparing to move out of
Okay.
my house to move in with friends, and we were
Yeah.
supposed to go speak to this landlord that day, and I was like, everybody, I couldn't call nobody because I didn't have a phone because it had been lost in this process.
Oh,
And I'm pretty sure that one of the boys that was there had took it. And so I'm like, and I was so over it because number one, just the police, at least in my neighborhood, are useless. I went straight. I'm like, it literally just happened 3 blocks from where you were sitting. Can you please come and do something like right now? And like, no, you got to go down here and do this. And I'm like, fine, don't worry about it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna handle it the other way.
right. Oh, y'all don't want to
and
do it? I'll
and
do it.
then I still had to locate folks that I needed because I'm like, well, I'm gonna still be growing. I'm gonna still go to this house and talk to the landlord. But like, I had we had that's when they first started doing like location stuff on your phone, and so
Yeah.
like I had that on there, and I'm like, we just gotta find the phone, y'all. Let's just follow. And the person that I was supposed to move in with, one of the people anyway, because it was like 6 of us. I'm like, we good. Like, let's just go. And especially because that particular friend was always talking the rah rah and all that. I'm like, you should be the one that's most down about this. I know this is out of my character. It's out of my character. But like I said earlier, I was a little bit more affected than I expected by that. And um, and he was like, they might recognize my car later because we was going to move into the same neighborhood. And I'm just like, who cares about? Are you serious? Like, if you know, I was mad at him at the time for that reason. And it was just like, but it was just like that's what I was like, I was patrolling the streets. It was like we
Yeah.
go ahead. And it was silly. And my my mom and my best friend and a couple other people were just like, yeah, I'm not going to help you do that. And they were explicit about it. And I might have been mad about it, but at the same time they were they were protecting me, and that's what their job. That's why they love me. They protecting me
Yeah.
from doing things that are going to harm me in the long run.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know that feeling. Like I had reached that feeling in that particular moment because it was just so, you know, unnecessary and
Yeah.
inappropriate, like all those things. And I'm like, I am too old.
See, that's the thing. That's the pride. That's the pride. Because you like, bitch, I'm way too old for this.
This is too old. It's too old for this shit to be still happening. This is too, just like anything, like you said, even like it's 2022. What
Yeah.
else? What more is going on? What exactly what's new about this for you? Like I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
we can get married. We got all the things. Well, not all the
Yeah.
things. We still got some stuff to do. But
You still
like,
got
what? Come on. Like, what are you getting out of this? What about you? And I mean, and I'm definitely one of those people. I'm like, even though I don't necessarily uh think it's like in the forefront, I'm
yeah.
like, I'm definitely one of the people where I'm like, you didn't got a tingle over there. You mad at me because you got a tingle. That's not none of my business. Like, you need to handle that on your own time. Deal
Yep.
with that with yourself. And people just don't really. I'm like, listen, the ones that even when it's coming to like, the ones that look really nice, really attractive ones, like they know they're attractive. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's if you feel uncomfortable because you think you might feel something back, that's on you. And I wasn't worried about you like that because I don't
Yeah.
go outside with that. If for no other reason than my life experience, I don't go outside with that expectation. Like if it ain't in a specific environment, I'm gonna leave that alone. Like this,
Yeah.
I'm all right. Unless I see you at the bar, the club, online, I'm gonna keep it moving. You can
Yeah.
be cute all you want. Like I'm not, because I'm not. That to me, that's where like that's not worth the trouble most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like so, I'm like I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go over here. You can be cute, so don't worry about me because I'm not worried about you.
Yeah.
No matter how fine you might be, I'm not worried about you
You
because
know
that's
what?
not worth it to me.
You know what it is though. You're bringing up a valid point. I've learned even through therapy, men use reverse psychology. Men will
Mm,
actually show aggression when they're interested. I learned that.
mm,
They
man,
will actually do
I
the
mean,
opposite. They will do the
that
opposite.
old school. He hits you because he likes you. He didn't like
Uh-huh,
that. But
uh-huh,
even
uh-huh.
but even with that, when they used to say that, my interpretation of that was, them old school boys, not these current boys, because now they're like, oh, y'all married, y'all boyfriends, girlfriends. They want that, and it's
Yeah.
so funny to me because I have an idea about that, but but I'm like, at the time, I'm like, back in the day when, especially when that saying was prevalent, where they would hit the girls or whatever, it's because they're like they weren't allowed to be friends with girls. They weren't supposed to be friends with girls. And here they are having these feelings about it. And they're like, I don't know why you making me feel weird and now I'm gonna hit you. And it's just
Yeah.
like I don't know what to do with these feelings.
Yeah.
And that's where, and that's the same thing when they want to be bothered about some man that got them confused or had something going on for them that they weren't expecting. I'm like, that's not the appropriate response.
You
That's
know,
not the you can
you know what's so crazy? I have a friend. He's a two-time Emmy-winning awarded producer, actor. Like he's a big deal. And he recently released a song and it was called Nervous.
Mhm,
And I love the song because it's boyish. But
mhm.
in the song, he's doing the same thing. The lyrics are, you make me nervous. Now watch this. You make me nervous. You get on my nerves. I'm normally cool about it, but I don't know what to do about it. You're so fly. But
Oh
you
wow.
but you see how immediately I loved it because it was he's such a man. Like he's such a man. Like he's such a man. He's so like I have a little flame for him too, but anyway. Like he's such a man, but I love how he did that because I like the song for that reason because I I'm 40, you 40. It's like we know we know what's going on now. So it's like, to hear him say, you make me nervous, and then say you get on my nerves about, because they're angry that you get to them. They're angry or bothered that they're attracted to you. And it's not necessarily the attraction that bothers them. It's what everybody else is going to about it.
For sure.
Yeah. So I just be like, listen here. No. I just, what was it? June the 30th. I just had my very first boyfriend ever, like ever. And I knew him for 20 years. I knew him for 20 years, and we were friends, but I'm bringing that up because, men, like, I'm glad I'm not this way. And I don't think I can say about both of us, we express ourselves, even when it's uncomfortable. You see? So that was his issue. If it made him uncomfortable, he went the other way. I'm trying to love you and you want to argue. And I'm like, that meme that's going around, I'm not going to argue with you. Like I was that way. Like, I'm not going to argue with you. And especially when we both choose to be here. But it wasn't, if you go deeper, it was his feelings, his emotions, what he had experienced, because he had been dating for a long time. He was older than me. He turns 46 in November, and I will wish him happy birthday because he wished me happy birthday. And, maybe one day we'll reconnect as friends, but there's some stuff there. And he recently started therapy, and I know, and this is the thing, even though we split, he's a wonderful man. I know, of course. I know that, just not right for me. Yeah. But that too is a grown response. Yeah. We grown. We're not kids.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, if I invested time in you, regardless of if it's not the fit that we were expecting, I have no problems maintaining a relationship. I don't have a problem fixing a relationship if it didn't go to plan, or if we needed some time to grow and evolve a little bit. I tell people all the time, because I treat all my any kind of relationship I have is the same, to me in regards to how I'm approaching it. Yeah. And so, my best friend and me and my best friend have had a couple breakups, and most of the time it's like, okay, we'll take your time, work through that. I'll still be here.
That's always you, though. That was always you.
But
I'll be here.
I mean, but because but for me, it's really important that I tell people all the time, because I'm a couple years ago was one of my aunt's birthdays, and I remember telling them, like, I had learned some lessons in her household, specifically, but one that stuck out to me that I really always sort of stuck to afterwards, and I really do. It is really a core thing for me. Is I was the child that said, I'm not going to be your friend no more. Oh, and that was me as a child, right? And my aunt was like, well, if he wasn't going to be your friend no more, then he was never your friend. And and it was really important to me that if you want to just throw things away, with no, if that's somebody that you care about and whatever, there is, doesn't mean you got to put up with everything, but be more careful with your language, be more thoughtful about what you mean when you say things, especially when it comes to how you and a person's relationship are. Because I'm like, if I love you, I pretty much going to continue to love you unless there's a very specific thing. Now, mind you, to some extent, that the flip side of that is, every once in a while, when it gets to a certain point with certain people, it's like, oh, then they was never your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a different circumstances. Even though my knowing me, I would still, if they came at me, approached me the right way, it still would be something we could work out. But generally speaking, that's how I approach everything. So even if it's not even if now is not the time for us to be, maintaining this relationship, even if it's a different kind of relationship when we come back together, like, I don't have any issues having that person that I had built into my life or allowed into my life and spent time with to come back in some capacity.
Yeah.
And, because my thing is that I saw value in it. I'm not going to doubt my own judgment most of the time.
Right.
I mean, if you prove me wrong enough, like I said,
Yeah.
I will also accept that I was wrong, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I'm going to feel like I was right and it just isn't the right, we just need to come at each other from a different angle and that's all.
Yeah.
So, that's just how I approach almost any kind of relationship, really. So, and that's a big deal to me. That's like I said, that was me. That was really something I took to heart as a child.
Yeah.
Is value your relationships and again, not allow people to treat you bad or walk over you or anything like that, but just be like, don't let it be over something meaningless. That you just say, I'm gonna wash my hands, and I'm gonna, just erase you. Like, no, I don't need to erase you to say these are my boundaries or these are my what I need for me,
Yeah.
and we're going to work this out or we're not. I don't have to erase you for that.
You are absolutely right because let me tell you something. I still love that man.
Yeah,
I still love that man. And I've been celibate for 10 years because I needed to build my business. You know, I even didn't even work out. I recently posted a picture of me when I was at the peak of my workout. And I said under the caption, I'm like, listen, now that my business is built, I can get back to my hobbies. And weightlifting is one of my hobbies. And the internet went all
yeah,
crazy about it. But yeah, like they did. It was crazy. Like I'm like, really, y'all, really. But anyway, but
yeah,
I still am in the particular standpoint where I told that man when we got together, I didn't want anyone else to touch me but him. Like
yeah.
that was how we got together. I said he cried because I said to him, I said, I don't want nobody touching me. I'm good now. Like I no, I don't need anybody else. I don't need anybody else touching me. If it's not you, I said that to him. I
Yeah.
said that to him. And it was like, it was a beautiful thing. And I have pictures of him and I didn't, and that was the thing because people were like, are you going to complete it's what you just said. Are you going to completely erase him? No, I'm not taking down a single video I did. I'm not taking down a single love tribute that I made to him. Like this is a part of my life. Like if we get back together, we get back together. If we don't, we don't. Like I'm gonna do what makes me happy, but I know that I have a connection with that man. And even
Yeah.
though right now it may not have been, that man is going to be a part of my life in some capacity. May not be the way
Yeah.
that I wanted it to be, but you're right, in some capacity, because you don't throw away 20 years. We got to know each other,
Mhm.
So it just, people, but you're right. I love that. And that's a great segue because it's not necessarily that you're Mr. Fix It. It's just that you're Mr. I'll give you a chance and I value you. Like I like that. Like I like how you said, like I try, because see, that's the thing. We all go, well, did I make a mistake? And it's like, no, you moved on what you felt. So you weren't wrong. If the other person felt a different way or changed their behavior and made a different decision, that's still not you distrusting yourself. And I find in today's society, a lot of people are very distrusting of themselves. They
Yeah.
ask me all the time, Queen of Shade, how do you do what you do? And you've been before us for 7 years and you never run out of things to say. And it's because I trust everything that comes out of my mouth. Yes.
Listen,
Like,
I I had someone on my timeline that I met when I was in school,
yeah,
and she does a lot of self help kind of stuff. She's always talking about that, just being more. For her, it was about being more stop shrinking. So this was what the post was about: is to not shrink
yeah.
yourself and not always sort of try to basically undermine yourself. And I've
Uh-huh.
never really had that particular problem. I do care about other people's feelings maybe more than I necessarily need to, but
Uh-huh.
I never doubt what I'm feeling or what I want or what I think is correct. Um, and so she had posted these like three things that people say to minimize themselves. One, like, um, uh, I don't know if that made sense, and um, you know, uh, if it's really an inconvenience, stuff like that. And it was when I was like, well, you can work with those two, but there was a middle one. I was like, I can't even imagine even pretending to say that. It was oh God, of course I can't remember now that I need to say it.
Maybe it's me and not you.
No. It was a way of you. It was regular conversation stuff. What was it?
Oh, okay.
It was oh, it don't matter. It's not that big. But whatever it was, I was like, I can't even imagine saying that because I'm confident about things that I choose to say. And it's
Yes.
really important to me that if I choose to say something,
Yeah.
that I'm saying it from here, like that, like, because I would rather be silent,
Yeah.
and keep it to myself until I'm sure about what I want to say.
Yeah.
And if I do, even when it comes to something where I'm speculating or making, a guess or whatever, I'm
Yeah.
still doing it with a knowledgeable guess. I'm still talking from somewhere where I'm feel confident about what I'm saying. I want to be open to adjustment if you have an adjustment to what I am saying. And I usually use language to let you know this is I think, or if I feel like I know, there's not going to be an I think in there. It's going to just
Yeah.
be this is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what I do know.
Yeah.
Um, but I will, if I only think, I'm going to use the word think to be
Yeah.
clear, so that I will be open to receive whatever adjustment needs to be received. But like, having the second guess yourself, that's not, I think that's a really big.
That's a problem.
Um, it's a. I mean, there's people that should be more thoughtful about what they say,
Yes. Yes.
but there those people that those other ones that I'm like, if you know something, you know it. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to be like you said, doubt yourself about it. Like if you're
Yeah.
sure, like be sure, like, and if you're, and work with that, come from that place
Yeah.
of surety, because you come into, um, I don't, I can't, I literally, unfortunately, I literally can't even imagine.
You know
I
what's so
literally can't even
crazy?
imagine.
You know what's so crazy? You're absolutely right because, in this world that I live in now and do what I do, there are some people that root for me and then there are some people that prey on my demise. It just comes with the territory. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, I didn't make a mistake about that man.
Yeah.
I didn't make a mistake about that
Yeah.
man, you know? And that I know in my heart to this day. I didn't make a mistake about that man.
Yeah.
I feel like, and this is true, he told me a lot of private things and I can't go into that, but
Yeah.
I know that he wasn't himself right now because he was having a lot of different things happen in his life that caused him to reevaluate who he could trust, how he could trust,
Mm-hmm.
he was basically betrayed. He's a minister, so he was basically betrayed.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a good thing. And
Yeah.
I'm there to hear about it. And, so with him dealing with that and then trying to balance this newfound relationship because he like get this to this day you could never convince me that he doesn't love me. You could
Oh no.
like you said, I know I know. I'm not like you said, I'm not going to say I think he loves me. No, he loves me.
Oh
He
yeah.
loved me for 20 years. Okay. So it's
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
now I feel, and I love that word better than I think. I feel that he needs time because
Yeah.
what he was dealing with in his life, it just was too much. It was too
But
much.
even like what you said, even when you're referring to me about not being Mr. Fix It, I do still think that I'm in someone's life for a reason, just like
Yes.
they're in my life for a reason. And my goal is to contribute to their life. And so even if like I said, even if they need to step away, I
Yeah.
still know that the fact that I was there is one of the reasons that they can come back. Because
Yeah.
whatever I imparted to them is going to help them get to whatever place they need to be so that when we come back better,
Yes.
And I have full confidence that I believe that in that completely.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm disappointed that there's another stepping away or, whatever, but
Yeah.
overall it's still like I imparted what I needed to into
Yeah.
this thing that I value. And to me, I, again,
Yeah.
I'm sure about.
Yeah.
And I'm also sure, and I know my best friend in particular. I know she gets mad at me because I'm like, well, you'll be back. Don't worry. Like it's not a big deal. Like if you need time, like now I really do. And I mean, I don't mean I'm not saying that in a
I know.
and I'm not, it's not in an about me ego way. I'm
Yeah.
saying it, and so I know that I value you, and I know
Yeah.
that you value me, regardless of what you're feeling right now.
Yeah.
And when we come back together, it will be better and stronger. I know that when you will be back because I know the value that I add. I know and I know you value that you add. So I'm not worried about, you know, the needing time.
Yeah.
But that's just not, I just don't have that doubt. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't have
Yeah.
it. And so like
And you know,
and again, it's
you
not
know it.
about being, like you said, it's not about being Mr. Fix It. It's about, you know, knowing what I am offering, and knowing that when it's something, because for me, when those things happen, it's because we've had friction, either because I said, you know what, we have reached the limit of this behavior, we've reached
Yeah.
the limit of, this thing is time to grow,
Yeah.
and then they go out and they grow.
And they grow. And that's exactly what
And
happened.
yeah, and so like you said, I never doubt that the love is there. The love is here,
Yeah.
still over here. So I know the love
Yeah.
is still over there.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because this is the second
you
time.
know,
And it's so crazy because this is the second time. Like he wanted me to, he asked me 20 years ago, and I said no. Now, I asked
mhm.
him and he didn't say no. And it was me that walked away. Like it just,
Yeah.
but you know what's so funny? Even thinking about it, like his name is Jermaine. I mean, wonderful man. Like when I tell you a wonderful man. But
Mhm.
like we were saying earlier, things that go on in your life, things you're dealing with or need to grow, they can affect all your relationships, all
Mhm.
your relationships. So, I don't have any, and like you said, I don't have any ill feelings toward him. I think of him.
Yeah.
Daily, but I think of him. He's in my consciousness, you
Oh,
know,
of course.
and because at the same time, I'm hoping that his therapy's going well. I'm hoping that he's healing from the devastation that happened to him. That was the betrayal of
Yeah.
everything after 30 years in ministry. Like I'm like, yeah, it was a lot. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm praying that he heals. And my thing is, please, that like, and that's what I know. Like in the future, it doesn't even matter. I'll be traveling and he'll be right with me. Like I know.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that'll be what it is. And it won't be, it doesn't matter. Well, weren't y'all with and we'll be looking at them both like, were we? Like, because because the understanding is between you and that person. It's not the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not the world. And
Yeah.
moving into 40, I realized that myself. It's not the world. It's not the world.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
between who you're dealing with and you. And
Yeah.
you. Like,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing. I want to talk about something because I used to say this to you all the time. As I'm talking to you tonight, I'm noticing all these beautiful rings on your fingers. That's right. I'm going to bring it up because I used to bring it up to you all the time. Did you make them?
No, I didn't make any of these.
Okay.
Um, these are just right. I have not gotten into the metalworking, even though I was interested in that at one
But
point.
you were making your rings. With precious gems and
Well, I was doing like these friendship bracelet things with
okay.
bead work and things like that.
Okay.
Um, and they were really wonderful. I really did enjoy making them. Sometimes I would make necklaces and
Yeah.
and all that. I have, you know, I definitely am behind on my craftiness. I still have all the supplies. I still go into a store and be like, I need to buy these supplies. Um, but the last thing I did make something during the pandemic. I made something for my friend because she was trying to because she does crochet blankets and all that fun stuff. And she was like, I would like to do like I don't know what it was like. It was like a sale almost, but like, and today we're going to give away this, and this and so she was like, well, can you make something for me to give away? And I'm like, sure, why not? And it was the motivation I needed to do something at the time. because for me, those things were always sort of more personal. Because even I know when we would have conversations about it,
Yeah.
at least from what I remember, it was
Yeah.
like, oh well, why don't you just do more of that? And like but for me, it was always more of a personal thing. I would make it for a person I cared about,
Yeah.
and so that was my motivation to do it. Every time I try to do anything that's not personal, I'm just like, uh.
I
I'll
was
do that.
always trying to get you to start that business. I was
You
always.
know, I said, or I would get bored with it because it would be sort of that, because there wasn't any intention in it. And so, like, trying to find that on is difficult for me, is to find intention that works for any kind of, business kind of thing. But for her, because it was for her, and something that she wanted to do, I was able to do that. And I was really happy with it. I was really pleased with it at the end. It was like one of the most professional looking things I had made. And so I was really excited about that, particularly because I've always had trouble with, not trouble, but because I was like purposely avoiding hardware because
Yeah.
I wanted it to be all the same stuff. I would have to make these really funny closures,
Yeah.
and they were fun. But for me to hand that to somebody, a stranger, that wasn't, especially a stranger who I couldn't say, "And this is how you put it on,"
Yeah.
you know, that wasn't sensible. So I actually did use hardware that time, and so I made an effort to make sure it looked um, as nice as I could make it under those circumstances, and I think it came out really nice. Um, and but again, it was because she needed it, and so I wanted to do it for her. But I was like, okay, I'm still got this strings and beads, and I was like, well, the next person that comes along that I need to make something for, who I want to make something for. So I've made a couple things in the last few years, um, but they're definitely still on that personal level. Like I'm making it for that person. And it's still fun because every once in a while I figure out some new thing that I haven't figured out before. Because you're trying new things. You got they got these new fancy beads. It's a different kind of bead. So how can I use it different? I'm still into it, but
Yeah.
it's still for me a real personal, like motivational wise and intentional wise, that it still has to come from a personal place. And if I was to make it like a businessy kind of thing, I still would have to find that right motivation to do it. To do it otherwise.
And I
But I
get
still have, it's still a little crafty over here. Still a little crafty over here.
right. And I'm like, I don't even want to do it because you know how we used to get. So I'm like, you need to do it. 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 You're like, no, no, no. You don't do. You don't do. You don't
We
do.
both speak with authority.
Yeah, right.
We still do. We were, that's cool.
Yeah, but
It's a
but
good thing. It's a good thing.
a good thing.
I love I actually love that about anybody. Like I love that about you. I love it about a few other people that I know. Like because it is important to me.
Yeah.
Like you could have the wildest opinion in the world. If you can defend your opinion, I love you for that. Like I don't care what it is. I like if you stand by it and you have the logic down, we could be on the wrong boat. We could be on the opposite ends, and I'll still respect you and love you
Yeah.
for not only number one standing by what you believe in,
Yeah.
having the mind to explain what you believe in, and then also accepting that not everybody gonna like it.
Right.
Like it's just because sometimes I'm like AB equals C, and
Yeah.
they're like, some people don't want to. They're like when they hear the C part and like, oh, well, I didn't say C, and I'm like, but that's what A and B do. So
But see, that's
it,
that
it's
Aquarius
just,
I was talking
it's
about. You
just
guys
C
are
or not,
highly intelligent. I'm like,
and like for me is when they don't want to go there. I'm like, okay, but if you don't want to go there, then go ahead and sit down somewhere. Like don't, you have to follow through. If you have this opinion, if you have this thought process, if this is what you, what's the word? If this is something that you have strong feelings about,
yeah, a
that
core belief. A core belief.
it's core for you, then you
Yeah.
have to follow it all the way through. And
Yeah.
when you find that thing does not get to where you want it to go, you have to be ready to make the shift and make the change. Again, it's not going to be overnight, no matter who you are. It's not
Right.
going to be overnight. But when you recognize, say,
Right.
hey, these things aren't adding up. to what I thought they add up to if I think about it all the way through.
Yeah.
And where is the shift happen? Again, when I get new information, again, I'm not claiming it to be easy. When I get new information, I incorporate it in, and I slowly move myself over to where I need to be with that new information.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't feel like a lot of other people are not able to do that. They're not able to, number one, they're not able to even go through that process
Yeah.
to identify how all these things add up together for them, let alone for anybody else.
Yeah.
And because they can't do that, or
Yeah.
because they're fearful of the answer that they're going to get, they won't do it. I get in so much trouble with folks because they don't want. They're like, you're overthinking it. I'm like, no, I'm not. You have to think about all these. You know, you have to think about all these things. They are a significant part of. This ending is significant.
Yeah.
You can't just have these habits and feelings and behaviors
Yeah.
without knowing the impact on yourself
Yeah.
and other people.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh well, in the moment it doesn't matter, and it doesn't have to be that deep. I'm like, but it is. It
It
is
is.
that deep,
Yeah, it is that deep.
and because especially when it's motivating you so strongly most of the time, if it that you should want to know why you do a certain thing, why you care about the things that you care about,
Yeah.
where's that come from, and once you can do that, like you said, you can say, I can keep on going down this path because I know
Yeah.
where it comes from and I'm okay with that. Or you can say, hey, this is coming from a weird place. I can take steps
Yeah.
to shift, and I think sometimes people are scared of the process of that. They're scared of not being able to move quickly enough. I
Yeah.
said, but it's not even necessarily about moving quickly because once you know what it is, you're
Yeah.
going to go at your rate. You're going to go at your progress. I think it falls into the same category. Um, and I know it sounds like a weird segue, but talking about something like fitness or something like that,
Yeah.
I feel most of the people that I know who, um, are overweight or are dealing with other issues. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, it's a process. You have to go through the process. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to be overnight, and you shouldn't expect it to be like because they get discouraged,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it's not, and I'm not even speaking from experience because I haven't had that particular experience. It is slowing down, so I got to do a little bit. I have to be more thoughtful, but
You look
uh,
gorgeous.
no, I'm just saying, but I see changes, and I'm like, okay, I recognize those changes. I know what habits I have, whether or not, and this is what if I want to not go that way, I need to make decisions about that. However, so I don't know their experiences. I haven't been in them. I haven't been in their shoes. But at the same time, I do know that it's not going to happen overnight. That's just facts. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not losing 100, 200 pounds
No.
in a year in a healthy way.
Right?
In a healthy way,
A
you're
healthy
not.
way.
So, so if that's the case, then just focus on the accomplishments that you do have. Keep going
Yeah.
because eventually you will get where you want to go. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be tomorrow. As long as you're doing what you need to do, be happy about the fact that you're making the change and that you're making
Yeah.
the effort. And then, and then moderate your progress, do what you can do, but don't think, oh, it's not working at all, or it's not working the way I want it to work, so I'm going to stop altogether. Because that's usually what happens. Going back to the other conversation
Yeah.
that happens with other aspects of our health and other
Yeah.
aspects of our personality in person
Yeah.
is that's too much work or that's too hard or the changes aren't fast enough. So I'm not going to do it at all. I'm going to just accept it the way it is and I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to make any kind of effort to understand it or improve it because it's not, instant. And I'm like, well, that's not how any of this works.
Yeah.
That's not how any of this works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a thing, and I definitely that's I run into roadblocks with people, and unfortunately for me, I can't really build the connections with those people.
Yeah.
Like I can be nice to them, I can be friendly with them, but I can't actually have the kind of strong connections that I like to have with people that are in my life. And so, no matter like the reason why all that was to say, I appreciate being able to have a conversation with someone
Yeah.
regardless of the fact if we see eye to eye all the time or not. Like,
Yeah.
I like someone who is, like I said, is going to stand by what they think, can explain what they think, and we can figure out where the nitty gritty is, where the divergence is. Because that's for me, it's like, well, where is the divergence? I'm very interested in that. Where do we diverge when we have the same information?
Yeah.
Like, that type of thing is sort of exciting for me. And I
Uh-huh.
remember I have one of my other loves, a person I care about a lot. I was at his house one time and one of his friends were there. And it's funny because he and I had the same birthday. I don't think I knew that at the time, but we were in there. We were just like, going back and forth. And I am an excitable person. So I get louder when I'm excited. It doesn't
Me
mean I'm
too.
angry. It doesn't mean anything like that.
Me
I'm just
too.
excited. You know? And so here we are going back and forth. And he was so used to other people in that situation being upset with each other, ready to fight or something like that. I'm like, and we both just stopped and looked at him like, we're fine.
Right. Like,
We're
girl,
having a spirited
now.
discussion. Meanwhile, I had spirited discussion with him. He's one of those people that I'm talking about. Like, we might not see eye to eye all the time, but you will follow your logic all the way through. You will argue your point, and you're strong. You're confident in what you have to say, and you also know where to say, "I don't know that." I
Yeah.
I am open to new information. All those things. So, like, I love him because like we can have those conversations. We can be hyped with each other,
Yeah.
and then are we gonna go watch this movie now? Like, we reach whatever conclusion. We're not mad at each other. We are expressing our ideas, we are discussing our ideas, we are fleshing out and making our own ideas better. Because to me, that's what it comes down to. Sometimes you don't even know the answer until somebody asks you the question, and
Yes.
that's part of the process
Yes.
of developing yourself. Sometimes that clash is paring away the weakness in your own argument.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pare that away.
Yeah.
Cut it away because you know what? I didn't think about that. Let me think about that now. How do can I and the word is eluding me right now. But can I continue on this path once we've addressed this particular point? And if
Yeah.
I can't, that means I have to adjust my point. That means I have to adjust my point of view. And again, it might not be some big giant shit. It's not gonna be all the way over here, but guess what? It leans a little bit this way, and yours probably leaned a little bit that way. And it's just like, okay, we both leaned a little bit. We still over here on our side of the thing, but we have a better understanding of what we do believe. We have a better understanding of what the other person believes, and what their values are, what their priorities are. Because, like I said, a lot of times you do have the same information. We're looking at the same piece of information.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we coming to the different result? And that that's important to find out because that's where you really get into, well, how can we work together on this thing that we don't necessarily agree on? How can we um, have a better community or a better relationship with each other without going through that process without doing that? And I really get into what your real motivations are, what your value, what you really value. And sometimes you actually sort of you that slight difference in value can make a big difference, but at least once you understand that what motivates that person, then you can offer solutions that suit you both, especially when it is something that you have to both of you theoretically have to live with.
Yeah.
So
So
not just some nebulous idea, even though sometimes it's fun to do nebulous ideas too. But
I got a
my
question for
opinion
you.
on that, but
I got a question for
yes,
you. Um,
okay.
do you have a podcast?
I do not.
Wow, here we go. Here we go. The great debate. The great debate. I'm gonna try to move it just a little bit this way. Just bear with me. Just gonna be a little move, little move. You have always been a wealth of information. You taught me so much in the time that we spent together and known each other. And you are so willing to share that because literally you're like a filter. You take in the world and then you expel beautiful changes and beautiful ways of thinking and beautiful ways of doing things. That's what you really do in this world. And most people don't realize that. It's like being a crystal, a very, very precious crystal. You literally filter out all negativity and just you emit such a beautiful aura and such a beautiful light that you need podcasts. You need to be talking. You need to be talking because get this, so many people even in this world that is progressive, though it's 2022, there are still a lot of people that don't quite feel as sure as you and I about who they are and what they believe. So they look to us. I've built a career talking and get it. Nothing, and it's the funny thing about my career. Nothing that I'm saying is ever rocket science. It's never rocket science. Like anyone sitting down could arrive at the same perspective. But that's what it is. It's my perspective. So, and a lot of people write me and they just say, oh, I hadn't thought about it like that. And it's the same way. I'm not trying to landslide them. It's just see it just a little bit from this way, and then it's so funny because even in my work, I do not mandate that people change. I never mandate that people change. I don't need you to change because if you how do you change from being you?
Yeah.
You've been you, because I look at my demographics, most of the people that watch me are adults. So you've been you, you've gotten to this point in your life, you've got your job, you've got your responsibilities, you've got your love, you've got all the things that you built on your own. Why would you let someone who doesn't know you and doesn't know the actual process of what you've been doing to just totally change everything about you? You don't do that. I like to think of myself, and it's kind of funny because I like to think of myself as like extra credit or extracurricular reading. It's like, in addition to what you're doing, have fun with this idea. That's how I look at my work. It's, I can be serious sometimes. I can be serious a lot of times. Like she is. The Queen of Shade is really serious sometimes. She is, because she believes in what she's saying. But, but like you said, she's passionate. She has a perspective and she backs it up with her own logic. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But I've had people say to me, and I don't get mad with them, I don't agree. I'm just like, don't say that out loud because my following will get you. But but I'm like, don't say that out loud. Don't type that. But I really do welcome that because like you said, it's an opportunity to substantiate. It's an opportunity to tell you why I believe what I believe. Because I don't do that in every single video that I don't have the time. But when you ask me, well, when you say to me, why? And then I tell you, well, because I experienced X, Y, and Z and the doctor and then they're like, oh, there's a lot of information behind it. And it is challenging because, I had to get it down to a science because people have very short attention spans. So I try to keep, like when I do my videos, I try to keep them to 60 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I love these because this is when people get to sit down and hear you, hear me, hear our perspective, and they go, like they really see that there's substance there. And that's why I invited you, because I know you're like, you just have so much, like, and get it. It's not new. You've had substance your whole life. Like since I know that I met you back in the early 2000s, like you've always been a person of substance. Crazy thing is, when I was going through the homelessness and the mental breaks and the manic episodes and all of this stuff, I was staying with different friends on their couches and such. And I brought one of the young ladies, the women, who was like really influential I was homeless before Paris, went to Paris, came back homeless again, went back to her house. Like it was like that. So she was a very, very pivotal part of me getting to where I am now because she sheltered me. She sheltered me when I needed it. And I brought her on and she said something that I didn't even realize. I was thanking her for her contribution to my life. I was praising her for, being the powerful Aries that she is. And she said something to me and it threw me for a loop right on camera. Because she said to me, she said, sweetheart, you were never an empty vessel. And I like, exactly. And I'm like, she said, you're giving me all this praise. She says, I understand you're thankful for what I did for you, but you make it sound like you came to me empty and I had to fill you up. She was like, I never had to do that. I never did that. And like she said that in the interview, so everybody saw my reaction. It was like,
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I'm just like, and once again, those people in our lives, she changed my trajectory again, because I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
It changed, like it made me think about the people that have helped me, or the people that do help us. Help is great, but you don't owe them your life.
Yeah.
You don't owe them everything. It is okay to be in a vulnerable position and have help. And then you go on. And like I said, but you went on not just with what they gave you, but everything you were before you met them, everything you were intrinsically by the divine built to be. You have all of that. And what they gave you is just an additional piece that you carry with you that can, kind of help your machine run just a little bit better. But she was like, you were never an empty vessel.
Yeah. It's always I think especially when somebody is willing to help you, is willing to give of themselves for you, there is still an exchange occurring. Like I feel so personally, I actually feel frustrated. But when I experience people who don't think that they're worthy of love, of the things that you are offering them, and I'm like, well, why wouldn't you deserve it? I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Take your time.
It just it's just so frustrating because I'm like, going back again, not arrogance or ego. Like, you think I'm just here for nothing? Like, I'm not. Because if I thought she was a lost cause, I assure you,
I wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be here. Like, it's not because I don't have, because of the challenges that are part of my life, part of possibly your life and things like that. Like, I don't just go. I think I told my best friend at one point, and this is what I said to her. I said, when we were in school, I thought, and I don't remember if I connected the dots then or later, but I said, we're from the island of misfits. That's how I framed it for myself. And so, like, it wasn't like, okay, yeah, we can be on, like, I don't seek out people where I gotta perform for, and like where I have to be somebody different, or I gotta be perfect or whatever for them in their whatever way they think perfect is. Right. Like, it's very much, this is who I am.
Yeah.
If you want to be here, you want to be here. Like, if you like it, you like it. You don't. I'm not doing backflips for you to make you like me. Yes. And so, like that. So I approach other people, and I have this idea in my head that they operate similarly, and it's unfortunately that's not the case. And sometimes it's so far off the case that you're like, hey, you are a valuable person. Yeah. I am here because you are lovable and worthy and all those things. And, how do you not know that? And it's just so, it can be very distressing sometimes, especially like when you do come across someone who is dealing also with the additional aspects of mental illness or something like that. Yeah. Because you're like, I mean, your brain lying to you, buddy. Like, I mean, yes. I know you can't do anything about it, but your brain is lying. Like, yes. And I'm trying to tell you that by being here, and that's one of the reasons why I'm giving to you and showing you love, is because apparently you don't know. So I'm letting you know. This is why I'm letting you. That's one of the reasons I'm letting you know that you are worthy, that you are worthy of love, worthy of good things in your life. All those great things. So. Yeah. But that is, I have been. That's one of the things for me that provokes gratitude for myself, because regardless of what else is going on in the world, like, I did have that, love and care where I never doubted that for myself. I never had any lack of belief that that was the case. And so when I come across the folks where, their families are putting them out, or, you contributed to the house, but you still had no key, and, like, just like all these little things that so many people I meet, and I'm just like, I am, my heart goes out, because I'm like, because it creates that doubt for themselves. It creates that thing for them. And, like, with your with your grandma's justifiable anger. Like, these are people you're supposed to be able to go to, especially when it comes to family and things like that. But no matter where it's coming from, that sort of disdain, and where people are throwing you to the side, like, I feel so
Yeah,
frustrated for them, because it leads to
so much.
more of that, and
Yeah,
more of that, and create so many issues and things, not only with, just anything in their life, their relationships, their work life, all of that stuff, their talents, all those things, they're impacted. And, you just, and you just wish better for them. And that's why, for me, that's what I'm doing when I'm, cool, like, I think it's not about filling you up necessarily. It's saying, hey, there is stuff in there. You know it's in there, right? Let me put some ripples in there so that you recognize.
yeah,
Like, that wave couldn't happen if it wasn't nothing in there. Come on,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. No,
So
yeah, that, and you're so that's who you are. That's why, and you've been this since I met you. It's just, you're so right. And it's so crazy because back in about 2008, I
mhm,
and I saw my first psychic. I saw
yeah,
her back then because it was like, okay, I needed help with my chakras. Like that, the thing, my heart chakra was damaged. And she
mhm,
taught me that, and she helped me to heal my heart chakra and my head chakra.
mhm,
So she was like, this is what you got to do, and this and that. But the first thing she said to me upon our first like session, she said, there is an insecurity about you. And she said, it's not natural. You weren't born with this. You
mhm,
you didn't have this as a child. This was the product of systematic training and abuse and brainwashing for you to get to this level. And she was like, you've got to get back to the personality that you were when you were whole as a child. And it was so crazy because, I'm grown now. I still have a youthful spirit, but now I'm reconnected. And even in therapy, I learned about that. I'm reconnected back to my inner child. And
yeah,
my inner child is not out of control. My inner child doesn't throw tantrums. My inner child doesn't love me, love me, love me. Why aren't you, attention, attention, attention? Like, I'm not like that. I actually, it's kind of funny because even when I go out, I like to kind of go through the back way. And then people say, was that, is that the and I smile because I have my cap on, and I smile because I know they saw me. I
yeah.
like that, but it's not,
You are very noticeable.
you know, and it's like, and I don't try to be, I don't try.
No, but it's not about that, because I'm also very noticeable. It's not.
Very noticeable, right? And so, they notice, and I smile to myself because, even I was talking to my vocal coach, and, when I was younger, because of that, it sent my career on this path where I was just interested in fame, 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 fame. And as I got older, I stopped caring about fame. And I started looking for notoriety. Fame, you can be famous for nothing. And the thing about it, and the reason why I say nothing, but it's not really nothing, what people have to understand is you have to do something to become famous. You have to do something. Now, it may not be, I just have to say this, it may not be the right thing. It may not be a productive thing. It may not help anybody but you do have to do something. But with notoriety, you kind of rise in your
Mhm,
field and people know you in your field as being one of the tops in your field. And that's what I did. It's like, okay, my field just so happens to be entertainment, but I have notoriety. I deal a lot with, like, I have a lot of friends that are celebrity psychics, tarot card readers, and all of this stuff. I'm a shaman myself. We have to talk about that. It's a whole new. It's new. Okay, let's just say that. But I was talking to one of my friends, and he was doing a live reading for me, and he was just like, "Does your fame scare you?" He was like, "Does your fame scare you?" And I was like, "Yes, because I don't want that. I don't want that. That's not what I'm after. I'm not saying that famous people don't, because they inspire, but I want to make a difference. That's why I'm doing this. I want to make a difference because I want to create, like I did for myself with mental illness. I created a safe space where I could be myself, and I could bring people into that safe space. They could be themselves, and we could have a conversation, and the world could watch when they wanted to, as much as they wanted to, and not be judged, not be interrupted. A lot of people watch these things, and their conversations and exchanges between, and every single person I have brought to this camera, with you included tonight, is just brilliant. It doesn't matter what they do. I have men from all walks of life, and all of you are just so brilliant. And it's so crazy because when after this is over, I sit, and as it's rendering and doing what it has to do, and I'm just like, I feel so grateful, because it's not my show. My show, I do the 60-second videos. This is about the person that I'm talking to. And some people say, "Oh, well, you talk so much." I'm saying, "Well, honey, that's a conversation. I'm not I'm not your typical journalist. Like, I'm not your typical journalist to fire questions at a person and no insight, because I have lived a life. So I like to be able to input. Like, people are crazy. They say all kinds of things, but we don't care. But anyway, but anyway, I want to say thank you thank
you for inviting me.
this was so beautiful. I can't wait for them to see it. Like, it touches on so many points. But if I could sum it up in one point: authenticity. Be yourself. Be who you were meant to be. And yes, there are going to be people that come along and tell you that's not the right way. But like you said it tonight. You got to go in here and figure out does this feel right to me? Because if it feels right to me, I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Like you said that tonight. Not in those terms, but basically. And it's just such a beautiful thing, because I keep meeting, it doesn't matter, I keep meeting authentic people. Like, and that's the thing, because like we said, we're all crystals. We filter the world, and I just keep meeting, and it's not even meeting. I've had them in my life the whole time. The whole time. And when you think about it, it says something about me. And most people, they don't take a moment and say, well, if I've got all these beautiful people in my life, and I do mean beautiful people in my life, in every aspect of that word, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, don't I have to be one of them? Doesn't like attract like? I mean, even when people are opposites and opposites attract, there are certain common grounds that are, that become prevalent, and you're like, wow, you're so this, but we connect on this. Even with people that are opposite, you find the common ground. Common ground. That's how you make relationships work. And I like what you said tonight, because you basically were saying, listen, I can make a relationship work with anybody.
I do my best.
You do your best. Right. But your best is really how we all should be. I like the idea that you said, because it even made me think about Jermaine, because you were like, listen, I trust my judgment. I don't give up on people. And you're like, and I said and when you said that, I said to myself, I judged him too harshly.
Well, don't doubt that either.
Yeah. Knowing me, you know me. So it was like, I judged him too harshly. But, like you said, there's certain behaviors. It was just certain behaviors. I was like, I don't want to deal with that.
Right. But again, that's what time is for. That's growth. I never said growth was only happening on one side of the coin.
Right.
On both sides, because, just like, I mean, for me so far, like when I've had those experiences,
Yeah.
um, part of that for me was my growth was to say, hey, you have been too lenient with this thing. You need to be stronger about that thing that you have been allowing to occur that you don't care for, that you would rather not have happen.
Yeah.
And that was what I was doing in that moment.
Yeah.
And then that person had to adjust to that and decide how close back they wanted to come. And in that time, like, okay, so now we know that.
Yeah.
And it helps you with the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And you're both becoming stronger, better people in that process. So I don't think when those things happen, I'm not, again, that's what I was trying to say. It's not an ego thing. It's not,
Yeah.
anything like that. I know for me, I'm also growing from that situation. And
Yeah.
I just happen not to be worried about it.
Yeah.
I know we're
Yeah.
both valuable people, and
Yeah.
so I still know that I'm growing and that I fully expect them because I there's a reason why I value them that they will come and have the growth that they need to have for themselves.
Yeah.
And again, we might not be back to bosom buddies at the very end,
Exactly.
but, because I can't even imagine, I can't even think of, well, other than what I said, that never friends thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, I've never had something where I was like, don't come back here, and that was what they got from me. Like
Right.
that's not what I said.
Right.
I said go think about that, or
Yeah.
I'll be here when you get back. Like that's but that's is never you know uh get going. It's hey, I'm telling you what I need from me. And
Yeah.
you can offer it to me or you cannot offer it to me. But that's
Yeah.
what I need going forward for me. But again, it's for me, it is definitely growth happening on both sides. It's
Yeah.
not one sided at least not from my perspective. I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
and that's the thing, because even then, I think even with that, I stood up for myself,
Yeah.
and that was what it was. I stood up for myself. I don't think he was necessarily always angry at me, but it was just like, I'm not going to tolerate, I'm not going to tolerate, I'm not going to, this,
Yeah.
so I just,
Yeah.
I had to bow out. And you're right. Like we learn things about ourselves and what we tolerate and what we can't tolerate. And I was just like, I'm not going to tolerate this. But
Yeah.
but what's so funny? As far as boyfriend goes, he was the first and the last.
Okay.
He was the first and the last. But the thing is, he's polyamorous. I'm poly something. So let's just say that I'm poly. No, so I still don't want. Like I said, I didn't want another man to touch me, but I'll get over it.
Yeah.
Like I'll get over it. If I touch, they may not touch me, but I might touch them.
Oh well, there's that.
They may not touch me, but I might touch them. So who knows?
Hey.
But you know what I love? I love that this thing called life is that what people don't understand is there's no wrong way.
Yeah.
There's no wrong way.
Yeah.
There's a way and learning.
Yeah.
And adjustment.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. Like there's no perfect life. There's no perfect life.
Well, absolutely.
No life at all. Like, no perfect life. There will never be a perfect life. So it's just so beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great
to see you.
Great to see you too. You'll see me. It's just that I'm so big. Like I said, I started working for myself to not have to work a 9 to 5, and now I work 25/8.
25/8.
I haven't had a vacation in 7 years, but that's okay.
Well, I know you're busy.
Yes. Okay. So give me 3 words, and I can't wait to hear this from you because you are a wealth of information. Give me 3 words that inspire and empower you.
Oh, 3 words that inspire me.
And empower you.
I never even. You didn't got me a little speechless, so don't.
Oh, that's okay. Think about
it. Inspire and
empower.
I mean, I think just, basic one is love. Those things, having it, giving it, witnessing it.
Yeah.
Those things inspire me. those are things that are empowering to me.
Yeah.
Um, and, and it's not quite the same thing, but along the same vein is kindness.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes, it's not necessarily love, but you were still being kind. I mean, it is a kind of love,
Yeah.
but it's a, it's a choice to assist someone, to, you know, be in that position. Even if you don't, even when you're walking away, like I don't need to know you. I don't need to figure out what's going on. I'm going to just do what I can do. Um, and I guess let me think of a good third one. um, oh wow.
I did something
I,
nobody's ever been able to do.
I listen.
I'm like, I just did something nobody's been able to do. Omelio, quiet. Wait a minute.
Listen. Um, because I feel like this conversation is making me think about all these things that we've been talking about today.
Yeah.
That's sort of what, sort of, again, those sort of core things.
Yeah.
These are all the same word. It's all the same word.
Okay. It's okay.
Compassion, like
Yes.
that is something that I think is vital for me. That's like that's so important to me. To consider what other people are experiencing, what they're going through, how to um, how to let them know, like that, that they're being seen and appreciated and all that. And again, like I said, these are all basically the same word. It's just the same reason, the same thing going on. Just from a different angle. And I think that sort of something that if I'm ever advising anybody on anything, it's compassion. It's just like allow people to be where they are.
Yeah.
Give them avenues,
Yeah.
to improve what they feel like to improve what they need to improve with the skills that you have available to you to do, and or the gifts and the whatever that you have to offer them.
Yeah.
To offer that because you are seeing them.
Yeah.
And and like I said, they're all the same. All versions of the same thing, but it's that specific word, I think, out of the three, because love is love and kindness is kindness, but compassion, I think, is a, to me, it's so much a choice and an action. They always talk about love is an action word, blah, 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 but compassion is that action to me, and it's very it's just necessary, and I think that's one thing that is missing for for uh, for so many people.
I agree. Thank you so much. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media, online.
Oh. Well, it's just Omelio Alexander, but I'm very private, personal with my stuff.
You are, and you have a right to be. You have a right to be because you have a lot to offer. Mm-hmm. You have a lot.
But hey, you never know. Maybe you'll talk me into something, and I'll have a more public facing.
I'm that one. I'm that one. Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. Oh, you need to do this. Podcast. I done already said podcast. Yeah. So, all right. So don't go away.
Till that time come.
Yeah, till that time come. Don't go away. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the vocal stylings of Mr. Omelio Alexander, a long time friend of your queen. And I hope that you guys enjoyed the conversation tonight as much as I did, because it was amazing. All right. So say goodbye, but don't go anywhere.
Okay. Bye.
So did you enjoy? I hope you did. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and don't forget to cash at me at the Queen of Shade. I am your favorite content creator, right? Right. You want to see more of this content, right? Right. Cash at me. I love you. Mwah.
I've got my black stilettos on. Don't you